You too. So,
how are you all doing? Great. Okay, I do this thing now when I'm on stage. Wait 1 second.
oh, see, I was hoping you were going to do this because tomorrow your dad opens up and I'm going to pit you guys against each other.
Okay,
who could energize
perfect.
the crowd better?
Well, first I'm going to do a selfie, so that's the first thing I do. So everyone do something in this area.
I'm going to try to sneak into this without taking.
Woo! Okay, and now what I do is this, where I take a video, but I do this war cry to get everyone freaking amped because it's morning. I was up at 4 a.m. I don't know what you were all doing.
They were still at the party.
Yeah, so you guys are, okay, so I say, who are we? And then everyone yells boost. Is everyone ready? You're like half ready. Say yes. Like you haven't even, okay, ready? Okay, wait 1 second. Oh, that's interesting how that's gonna work. Okay. Who are we? Boost. Who are we?
Boost.
Who are we? Boost. Okay, you're like medium okay. Okay, well, it's great to meet you guys.
All right. So, again, really quickly, let's give it up for Adam. He did wake up at 4 a.m. to fly down here.
Yeah.
So,
I'll do anything for Alon. He's awesome.
he's a sucker.
Yeah. So what do you want to talk about?
I don't know, man. What do you want to do?
Okay. Here? Let me ask the question. How many of you own Bitcoin? Okay, so I do that still because 6 years ago it was a much different number. It used to be just one person over in that corner, sort of like sheepishly. Actually, sheepishly. No one in crypto has ever been sheepish. It's like,
No.
I am proud.
Everyone is stoked.
Yeah,
Well,
but also, how many of you are founders? Okay, well, good. Yes. Boost VC applications are open, so apply. Boost.vc/apply. I highly recommend you applying. And how many of you are investors? Okay, founders. Take note. Okay, now go.
talking about 6 years ago, talking about 5 years ago, and going in. About 6 months ago, we were here.
Yeah.
And it was, Bitcoin was almost 10K at the time. And now it's not. But we have probably 40% more people here. So, and half of them seem to be investors, half of them seem to be founders. Think that's a good sign?
Yeah. No, I don't get hit by the ups and downs of sort of the cryptocurrency world anymore. I've been, by being in it for about 6 years, 7 years?
2012. I remember Boost around 2012.
2012, so 6 years, 6 years. Sorry, I don't want to overstate how deep I am.
But you were doing sort of secret crypto stuff because you didn't announce it. Because I remember when you did announce it, it was already after the fact.
Yeah, sorry, I haven't even given no one up here knows who I am.
Who are you?
I'm Adam Draper. I founded Boost VC. I'm the managing director of Boost VC. We were the first fund to ever support the Bitcoin ecosystem, or openly support. So we've backed 100 crypto-related startups. Some of those startups are, I was a personal, Coinbase, we backed Coinbase, but I personally backed Coinbase 7 years ago. We've backed Etherscan, we backed MyCrypto, we backed Aragon, we backed Abra, we backed SFOX, we backed, so we've done a lot in the space, and I've learned a lot over the last 6 years. But I don't get swayed so much by the price movements, mostly because it's always the best when you invest when it's lowest, right? Like that's how it works. And so, and I believe my entire thesis on the entire space, so it can be summed up in the first time I ever met Brian Armstrong. He was from Coinbase. He was the one who actually told me about Bitcoin. I didn't know what it was. And he said, at some point, the world is going to be on one financial infrastructure. And so everything I've been doing over the last 6 years has really been about building bridges over the course of the globe to either onboard people to this new financial future or build bridges to the between countries for the financial future. And yeah, I'm pretty proud of that. So.
Well, and now where I was leading with that first kind of question was now we're actually seeing products with thousands of customers and real use cases and products like Abra who are using it to do exactly that. So it's exciting. I mean,
Yeah.
We literally, so you were talking about the number of people who hold crypto in the audience and all that. We literally ran the numbers late last night because we're nerds, and 52% of the people in the room say that they're investors. And about a quarter of them are founders of companies. So there's a lot of people.
Which, by the way, the number one thing that I think Bitcoin did was it created a level of financial education that just previously wasn't there, which is pretty interesting, where suddenly economists hated Bitcoin, and they had something to fight over, which made them more popular as thought leaders. You either took a pro or a con approach, and then it was being taught, and it made like 18 to 22-year-olds interested in economics, which isn't a thing. No one's interested in economics, not even economics professors. And who here's an economics professor?
Some guy over there just halfway raised his hand and then went,
I'm kidding. It's important. But your entire industry has changed. Your entire thought process has to change because of Bitcoin. That's exciting. I'm very passionate about financial education. I think that it's a really important just part of this onboarding people to a new financial infrastructure.
Well, okay, so this is something last time, I remember some of the biggest quotes and things, like, so I kind of have this weird insight into the conference and into what's going on based on what the press and people on Twitter are talking about most about the conference or shit that happened on stage. And one of the big things I remember last time was something, a lot of the energy was going towards crypto adoption, and I called it crypto literacy. Like just getting people to know what it is. And we were talking about gaming. We were talking about apps like Abra and Coinbase who are getting more people into it because their products are so easy to use. Mm-hmm. You're an investor at the earliest stage. Like you are first investor in most of the companies you invest in. What exciting stuff are companies coming to you now, or what recent investments have you made that do that kind of thing? Like basically exactly what you said, getting more people into crypto.
So I'll cite two things. One is, I don't think we know what good is yet, right? Like, I don't think we know what a great crypto product is. And I think, so one of the things we're actually looking for is sort of, which is antithesis to venture capital normally, is we're actually looking for sort of an agency model that just wants to iterate on consumer interfaces. Like, I'm looking for someone who just wants to experiment with user interfaces to figure out like which of these blockchains is good for what. And that is one sort of segment of investment that we're going after. Most of our investment like theses are really focused around interfaces right now. The other ones are like, hey, what's the Coinbase of, like Monero, or Coinbase of other dApps, Aragon, because and I guess it's embarrassing in some ways to say is like I finally figured out how dApps work. Everyone was saying dApps, and they're not apps. Just so everyone understands, like once you decentralize an app, there's no longer it's a marketplace for a curation engine. So it's the engine, and the user interface is what we would equate to being an app. And so what we're going to be doing, we're basically saying, hey, dApps and protocols, like they're getting there, but no one is doubling down on interfaces, and there's going to be a competitive marketplace for interfaces. So we're going to be going after a lot of those, and so those are sort of the things that because we're in this market where we don't know what the perfect use case is. I don't think like other than storing value or crypto kitties, or like we've seen a couple things sort of like hint at working, and that's really exciting. I want someone to really just mess with the system, and I think that's going to be a user interface layer thing. So,
well, that's probably the biggest problem up until recently with these really rad ideas that we hear about. Like people be like, I built the most epic fantasy football app. You could do this, you could do that, you could do all these things. It's stored in the blockchain. You get these micro rewards, you do all this stuff, and then you see it, and you're like, but the Yahoo Fantasy Football app on my phone just works, and it looks better, and it's simpler. And they have all these epic ideas, and that's just one of them, but there's a lot of those kind of stories in this space. That's why, I love products like Total, because if you've ever used a decentralized exchange, it sucks. 1,000%, it's like the worst experience you ever have, and then all of a sudden, somebody came up with a process and a way to do it, and an interface that doesn't suck. How much does that user interface, user experience factor into, bringing companies into Boost? Is that a huge factor? Do you know it's going to be worked on later?
Oh, I don't care how ugly something is. I hope that it's just out the door. Like, I hope they launched it. The two things I look for in any founder, or over the course of my 7-8 years of investing, the things that have worked with founders is someone who constantly iterates on their product and someone who constantly iterates on themselves to better themselves. Those are like the only two features I try to look for in new investments. Other than that, yes, there's some parameters and theses I think are going to work in society that I'm going after. But at the end of the day, I just want to work with someone who I enjoy being around, right? Like, it's like
that you have to like the person.
Yeah, like we want that. Like, you're going into a marriage. Like, it's basically when you're raising capital, it's a long-term commitment. You're together. Both sides should like respect one another. There shouldn't be like a power imbalance. It should just be like sort of like mutual respect. And so that's sort of that's my thing. Like, I don't care if you're at the beginning of the journey, middle of the journey. I mean, I'm much more valuable to someone at $0 to $100,000 in revenue. I think that's my sort of sweet spot. I open doors really, really well in that area. But or I'm just like, kick you in the ass because you haven't launched your product and you have one. Like, that drives me nuts. Like, this is a common conversation I have with tons of people. They're like, yeah, it's in like super private beta. We've given out like 30 keys. You don't know anything until you've launched your product. Like, you know zero about your end user. You don't know what product you built. You have like a hunch. And then people are gonna mess with your product, and then you fix it, and then it's a thing. All first products suck. Just know that.
Well, I know that having come to some Boost demo days and being in your office and stuff like that, one of your biggest favorite things to tell people is focus.
Yeah.
Right?
I say focus in a lot of ways. I might incept it in a way that you don't know I'm saying it, but basically it's just like focus. Just focus. Just like, it's, hey, yes, there are a lot of shiny objects in the world. One of the best things about entrepreneurs is also sort of like one of the worst things. It's this concept of infinite hope and like shiny object syndrome. Like, you're like, hey, there are 1,000 things that our product could do. Yeah, that's true. There are 1,000 things your product can do. But you're only targeting one demographic of person. One person who can use this productively, and it saves their life because it is better than the rest of the market. And so, like, target that person. So focus is definitely one of my jams.
Yeah, and you recently even talked about like geographical focus or like really narrowing it down when you launch a product.
Are you on my newsletter?
I'm on your newsletter. Oh, so if you haven't, you should sign up to Adam's newsletter. He even did one this morning on the way here. He's that dedicated to it.
I write for 40 minutes every morning, and it's, whatever's this morning it was Star Wars, Star Trek, and abundance and scarcity. You'll love it. Although I'm not proud of the quality of the writing, so I apologize for that, but the ideas are there. There are a couple that I'm very proud of. But my, newsletter. It's tinyletter.com/Adam Draper. Highly recommend signing up. I am Adam, so that would make sense. You guys are all just waiting for Woz.
That's right.
I just figured that out. I was like, that's awesome. I am too.
Yeah, no, we're nerding out and as excited as you guys are. I'm gonna in a minute, if anybody has questions, I'm gonna give some rules. So we have a couple microphones. I think there's one there and one there. I'll go back and forth and I'll let you guys ask Adam questions. But I'm gonna create rules for you guys and for Adam. We're gonna don't go up there and pitch your whole thing. Just come, say your name, and ask your question, and we'll try to actually like rapid fire answer them so we get through a few. But
that's cool.
Yeah, but before we get into it, I wanted to kind of ask you, what predictions you have over the next 6 months. I'm not gonna go like crypto prices and things like that because we're all kind of making that up. But what do you think is going to happen between now and, okay, so we had the last conference in April to now. A lot of things changed. Now next April, we're going to do the next one. What do you think is going to happen in those 6 months or so?
Okay, so my last prediction, predictions, you're forcing me into a situation where I'm not like, because I'm all about value. Like, all I want is for entrepreneurs to be solving people's problems. Like, and that's all cryptocurrency, all tokens, all this entire economy is all about removing friction from the world. And that's it. So like, if you're not removing friction from some piece of the world, you are doing it wrong. And like that, right? And it might start with something that's very cumbersome and very difficult, but you see a vision that no one else sees. And that's what I like supporting, is like the craziest idea in the room. Who has the craziest idea in the room? It wasn't as many people as founders. There were more founders than that. That's wild. Okay, I like that.
Ideas.
Okay, well, the crazy ones, I want to talk to you guys later. So my first prediction, I'm going to give two predictions. One is, in 10 years, there will be more digital currency than fiat. So what that means is there is a peer-to-peer network that is governing a majority of the currency in the entire world in 10 years, which, if you think about that, that's a lot of money and a lot of currency and a lot of value. Okay, but in order to make that happen, we have to start providing value, and so we have to make toys. So what my guess is that over the next year, I'm not going to give you 6 months because it's a ridiculous amount of time. Like, that's nothing. 6 months is zero. But I'll give you a year. In a year, we will be back here, and there will be 3 apps that are on the home screen of your phone, 3, that use cryptocurrency and the blockchain, and you don't think about it.
That would be epic.
Yeah. So 1 year.
So people, line up if you have questions. There's a couple mics. I'm going to ask you on the topic of toys. We kind of nerded out a month or two ago on a Zoom thing about non-fungible tokens. Yeah. Anything new there that you're excited about? I know that you have.
I still haven't seen the Magic the Gathering concept.
I literally looked up Magic yesterday to show my kid.
Well, I haven't seen the one well, what I want is non-fungible tokens that take history into account. So I've played this card 100 times. It either increases in power or reduces in power. Like, that seems like a really cool concept that you wouldn't have been able to do before with like normal cards. That's something that you can do now with the blockchain. That's awesome. So like that, I want that. If someone's pitching me that, you're first in line. Okay, good.
Is that mic on? I see a line right here. Okay, I'll go between lines, but remember, keep the questions somewhat concise, and we'll try to also, Adam will try to be concise.
Yeah, I will. I'll be
Adam,
concise. I'll use one sentence exclamation. Sometimes it'll just be my email address, so you email me so I can give you a longer one.
All right.
Go ahead.
Good day. My name is Jamari Peterson. I tell people go away and remember Jamari on safari in his Ferrari. Jamari, I'm with the Digital Reserve. My question really is about...
nice to meet you, Jamari.
It's a pleasure. My question is about the approach to like this space in regards to the developing regions. Like, where have you seen, or what do you see people doing to redefine the way that people access and actually create financial accessibility inside this space in new ways?
Yes, I mean, the entire concept of what I'm talking about is global. Like, here's another parameter to think about is like, if you're not building for the entire world, you're doing this wrong. because there are tons of regions, developing regions, that need a more sustainable peer-to-peer network that like sustains the economy. So I met a guy in Spain. I wasn't in Venezuela, but he's from Venezuela. He mines Bitcoin. He was mining Bitcoin in Venezuela because it was more profitable than anything else, and it was way more valuable to hold Bitcoin than to hold the Venezuelan peso? Dollar?
Peso?
Bolivar. I have 20. It's not worth very much. And what he did was he left to go to Spain because the government came knocking. And so he was like, I'm out. And like, that's how powerful this technology is. Governments are coming knocking. So what my general thought process is 50% of the companies I backed in crypto are international. So I back companies from all over the world. And we're all just trying to onboard people and build bridges cross-border. Like, that's what this system is. And so I think culturally there will be products that work in different regions better than like in the US. By the way, the US is like medium. Like we love speculating and gambling and stuff, but like.
Well, the crypto,
sorry, that was a much longer answer than I was
Thank you for
supposed
keeping
to
it
get.
to one sentence.
Yeah, that was one sentence.
No, but
yes, Jamari.
Yeah. Jamari, like Safari, like Ferrari. That was you.
Yeah.
You said that.
So this side, probably.
Now, we're going to do one here.
Go for it. Yes.
Yes, shout if it's not working.
Yeah, it does.
All right.
So I'm Fran, I'm the founder of Internext, and we're basically doing what Storage or Saya are doing, but focusing on basically targeting the mass market by how it works. By building a user interface. So we're actually applying to Boost VC. So VC.
Great.
Good luck.
So that's cool. Either way, so my question was, what do you think of Bitcoin Cash, or whatever it is, as a way to replace fiat currency? Because since the supply of these currencies is limited, it produces a deflationary effect that you don't want in a currency that's meant to be used to replace fiat, because you don't want people to hold it, you want people to use it. So don't you think that, for example, stable coins are a much more interesting way to replace fiat than?
Okay, so stable coins are really interesting as a short-term solution, I believe. So until there is a fully global 6 billion person peer-to-peer network, which would be, I'm biased towards Bitcoin, but like it could be anything, you'll have fluctuation of value. So what Maker does, for instance, I like Maker the best right now just because it is truly decentralized. But what they do is they allow a peer-to-peer network to be able to support collateralized value. Like, that's fascinating. And it's going to be really, really important in the short term. And their goal is to be less important in the future so that one currency takes over. So that's my answer. I don't know if it was a question.
All right, we got less than 2 minutes, so we're going to try to be fast on this one.
Go.
Right. My name is Ari, like Jamari and Ari. Education. Everyone talks about education, financial literacy, and crypto literacy. I'm working on an incentivized crypto education platform as well. But what are the things that everyone can build into their platform so we can bridge the gap between the normal user, the 70% of Americans that know about Bitcoin but have no idea how to touch it? How do we solve that?
Well, that is a piece of the user interface stuff, but also it's about understanding long-term thinking. So I actually think one of the biggest problems is short-term thinking, not so much like not understanding how things work. So people are too swayed emotionally versus like keeping a mission in mind. And if you keep a mission in a long-term perspective, you end up doing better. So
yeah, I think also we're going to do the last question right here in a sec. But I think also it goes along what you were saying before is people shouldn't always know they're doing something on the blockchain or using it. If you can create a killer product where they don't even know it's happening, it's just a killer product.
It's
and
just
it's
good technology.
enhanced by it.
I don't talk about using the internet. I just like use it. Like that would be ridiculous. So you guys will think it's a joke if someone was pitching me an internet company. You'd be like, what is this, 1990? Like.
If your company isn't on the internet,
but
it
if
doesn't
you're not
exist.
on the internet, I think it's ridiculous because you're not using the full extent of what the market can be.
All right, last one.
Lady Racket, founder, investor, also on behalf of the major European media who couldn't get here. Good to see your orange pants.
Thank you.
Love it in Los Angeles.
Me too.
Listen, I know from your dad that you are passionate about space.
Yeah.
So here's the question. I am a founder of Copernic Space, which aims to build something that's non-existent, which is space economy, using ecosystem, the blockchain platform, and of course Copernic, after Copernicus token. It's a wide open area, and we need to get back to the moon in a hurry. Yeah. So welcome your comments, and greetings from my son, who is helping me with my company, Great Grant Blaisdell.
So Alon said you're not allowed to pitch.
That's not
Everybody
a pitch.
has done. Everyone has done an excellent job, by the way. Everyone has done an excellent job weaving their companies into questions. So I want a round of applause for the entrepreneurs.
Hey, a round of applause for everyone. I'm not going to take any more of your time. Hey, yeah.
Thank you, Adam, so much. Adam is nuts about space. I saw him invest in a company that built a rocket in his parking lot.
Yeah.
He's nuts.
Also, ocean tech. So if you know anyone in the ocean technology space, send that.
But everyone, thank you so much. Adam.
Thank you.
You were amazing. I really appreciate it.